Hey boys and girls, how are you? In this video I'm going to show you guys how to use HTML tables. Alright? Great. So, let's start off by, what is a table? So, in HTML, a table is where you want to represent data in rows and columns. Alright? So I'm going to give you a couple examples of tables. Number one, here we have the NBA standings on ESPN.com. This is a table. You have rows that go left to right, you have columns that go up and down. And the data here is represented in rows and columns. So tables are made up of rows, and rows are made up of the cells inside them, and they turn into columns. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that in a second. Here, let me give you another example. So those are the NBA standings. Here we have planets data. So here's some stuff on the planets in the solar system. You see there's rows left to right, columns go up and down, and very interesting stuff. Alright, so that's another example. So we pop these back over here. Alright. Now I'm going to show you guys tables. I'm going to make a table for you. The first thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to add some styles to the tables. I'll explain why in a little bit. It'll help you visualize the table. Alright, so let's see. I have this link here. Let me copy it. So what I'm doing here is I'm just adding a link to a style sheet. And on the style sheet, I style tables. So I give them borders and colors and different things like that, so they're more easy to visualize. I'll show you the difference with and without the styles after I make the table. Alright, so let me do this and do that. Okay, so here's my first table I'm going to make. So let's see. So the first thing you have to know is tables are made up of table tags. You got table, and then all the rows. So this is the whole table, and then inside here we have rows. So tables are made up of rows, and rows are TR tags. They stand for table rows. All right, so we have one row so far, and inside the row you have cells like this, TDs. This stands for like table data. And there, we have one cell here. This is zoomed in a lot. There, that's what it should look like. And so a row can have many cells like this. Here's one row. It has 9, I guess, 10. Is that 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I think so. So that's 10 cells in this one row. Okay, and you can put, data in here, but I'll do that in a second. When you're working with rows and stuff, there's no reason, there's no reason why you'd have to type out things over and over again just with anything. If we wanted to add a whole nother row under this one, I could just copy this TR and paste it. So I have 2 rows. Alright, and then you can put anything you want in these rows. You can put images or text. Usually you put text in it. So let me make, what should I make my table of? Let me think. Alright, so I think I got it. So I'm going to make a table for a class schedule. You guys all have class schedules. So let's think, what do we need in our class schedule? Well, we need first name, last name. Those are 2 things. We need the name of the class. We need room number and period. Alright, there we go. Okay. So let's start off here. So let's say we'll start with me. So I'm the teacher. Right? That's one thing. What else do we have? What's the class? Maybe the class should go first. That makes sense. Or actually, Well, let me just do this. I can reorganize these in a minute. All right, so we got our name, the teacher's name, the class. So this class is Foundations of Web Design. And you notice how up here, this cell gets wider the more you type into it. That's how it usually works. So we got, I guess I'll throw a Mr. in front of me. Mr. Topel, Foundations of Web Design. The room number is, let's see, C-121. That's our room number for when you guys come. And then the period, let's say this is period 1. So we'll do 1. All right. And then, let's see, we don't need the rest of these cells, so I'll delete them. All right. And then, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this other row for now. We don't need that. So here is our table. We got my name, the class, the room, and the period. And then here's how easy it is to reorder these things. I think the period should go first. So I'll stick that here, period 1. And then I think maybe the name of the class would go after period. Makes sense. And then Mr. Topel, and then the room. All right, that sounds good. Oops. Now, let's add another teacher. So here's how I would do that. Okay. So instead of typing out a whole another row like I just did, this row is perfectly good. So I'm going to copy this row. Control C, Control V. Here's another row. Let's say I need 6 teachers. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 teachers. All right. And let's see. So like this would be second period, third period, fourth period, fifth period, sixth period. And let's say second period, let's say you have English. English. And then let's say you have Miss Jones, who doesn't. Then they're in D 120 maybe. I don't even know if that exists. Alright. So here I'll pause it and I'll fill in this ridiculous table. Alright. So here we go. I filled in the table with some mostly fake people. So here we go. Our periods in the first column, the classes in the second, the teachers in the third, and the classrooms in the fourth. Okay. Now, one thing we need to add. So if you're just looking at this table, you might guess that these are periods 1 through 6, right? And you might guess that these are, these are the classes and the teachers and everything. But what you really need are some headers. So you need to tell us what each column is of, So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to add a new row at the beginning of the table. So here's our row. And for headers, instead of a TD, we use a TH. So let's say period. There we go. Period. And so the next, so the class. And let me just copy these. Why am I typing it out? So we got period, class, teacher, and room. Room number. Alright, so this is a row of cells, just like the others. Only this one, instead of using TDs, it uses THs. So we got table data, TDs, and table headers. Both of them are cells. And then here, this is pretty much a table. You got 7 rows, 4 columns. The table is made up of TRs, which are rows, and then inside each row you have cells. And those cells make up the columns. Now let me go back and show you what this would look like without these styles. So if I go up here, I come up here, and I just put an X here to screw up this link. Here's what it looks like. So there's no borders and spacing and colors. Stuff does line up, but really it's hard to see as good as you can without the styles. Here, let me get the styles again. Much nicer. Okay. All right. Anyway, that's a table. I'll see you next time.